Please remain seated. The show will begin in 3, 2...
Like a Hellcat.
Note from me, FandomTraveller87. I've read the story quite a few years ago, and having recently started watching Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, I feel like it really speaks volumes on a very crucial and very serious subject, on corruption in Hollywood film, and also explores controversial practice of what is truly harmful and inappropriate for children to be exposed to. So, before I continue on with this video, I just want to say thank you to those who are listening. Your support means everything, and if it wasn't for listeners like you, for those who watch my channel, I probably wouldn't be uploading as much. So, what you guys are doing, honestly, is the main reason why I do videos like this, and why I even post at all. So, thank you, and honestly, I hope that you guys enjoy the story, and I hope that it is insightful for you. And I also want to give a special message out to the child actors who are real victims of SA and who have been through very traumatic experiences. My heart goes out to all of you, and I hope you all are doing better now. Alright, with that being said, let's dive right back into the burial vault for this next tale. And if you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that bell to get all notifications for future uploads. Alright, let's do this. In 1999, I was 22. I had just graduated from Emerson University in downtown Boston, majoring in screenwriting, specifically in cartoons and children's programming. My debt was pretty bad, so when Nickelodeon Studios offered me an internship at the studio in California, I accepted immediately. I jumped at the chance to get away from my dead-end job as a Benjamin Franklin tour guide. Many of you asked to see Crybaby Lane. Even if you want to see the original film, you never will. Yes, even if Nickelodeon somehow consents to releasing it to you, you won't be seeing what was shown on TV, and you sure as fuck won't be seeing the unaltered original. I don't even think Nickelodeon has the original cut of the movie anymore. If they do, it's only in backup copies. If those even exist, they must be locked away in some vault along with all the deleted episodes of Ren and Stimpy and the never-before-mentioned episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm pretty sure the director, Peter Lorre, has the original copy, though. It's probably on his mantle next to his snuff films. The creepy as fuck. Anyway, I was hired in 1999 and immediately put on a creative production team for the movie Crybaby Lane. It would be almost a year before the movie was due to be broadcast. All in all, it was a pretty low-effort kind of thing. There were only 4 people on the creative team. I was the only steady one, as Lorre would replace the others on a whim. He said it was to keep it fresh. I thought it was because he was hiding something, and I was probably right. We had a little over a year to make a made-for-TV movie, not just to write it and cast it, but to film it and get it edited. Lorre didn't work fast at all, though. After the first few weeks, we only had the ideas for the first 15 minutes of an 85-minute movie. Even at this point, Lorre was a weirdo. He was tall and lanky and carried himself awkwardly. He stuttered when he talked. And sometimes when you were hunched over a piece of paper during those endless brainstorming sessions, you'd look up and catch him staring at you, smiling. He'd look away when you caught his eye, and I guess that was the creepiest part. He always looked like he had something to hide. The brainstorm sessions at first were alright. We got the premise of it down pat. Two brothers unleash a demon and get into mischief trying to get everything back to normal. Not exactly daytime Emmy stuff, but it was an alright start. I thought the movie should be goofy and spooky, kind of like a Courage the Cowardly Dog sort of deal. However, from the very beginning, Lawyer made it clear that he wanted the film to be scary as possible. He didn't want any cheap thrills with a good, wholesome ending. He wanted to push it farther than Are You Afraid of the Dark ever dreamed of. And I guess he did. It was about 3 weeks into production when I first noticed something. Lawyer had the absolute power of persuasion over everyone else in the creative production team. No one fought him, and by the 3rd week he was already suggesting some morbid things. I remember he said he wanted the little brother to die halfway through the movie, getting hit by a dump truck. I immediately shot it down. I was the only one who ever said anything. And it stayed that way until I left the studio entirely and never came back. At first, cannibalism and other fucked up shit was kept to jokes and tasteless comments, but as time went on, it became more and more overt. I'd give him an idea, which most of the time he would end up using, like, how about the movie starts with a morbid undertaker who reads in stories? To which he'd reply, yeah, and then he can cut them up into little pieces and force feed them to his dog. He made those jokes a few times in the early stages. Then he got serious. He'd stand up like he was Jesus or something, clear his throat loudly, and proclaim his idea. I'd be the only one to shoot it down every fucking time. One day, near the end of our brainstorming sessions, Lawyer cleared his throat and stood up. We all fell silent and looked at him like we normally would. He would begin to speak. Gentlemen and females, I have an idea. I remember what he did. He paused and looked at me straight away, saying, the story will revolve around the legend of a pair of Siamese twins. Have you ever heard of the Donner Party? Everyone nodded, except for me. I didn't like where the conversation was going. They ate themselves when it got cold. They ate each other. Everyone nodded again. I closed my eyes. What would Siamese twins do if they had nothing to eat? Would one wait until the other twin dies, then consume her own sister's flesh? Would they claw out each other's eyes until one of them died, then dine upon them like a vulture tearing at the skin of a dead deer? I do not know. It's an interesting idea indeed. I didn't know what the fuck I was hearing. I opened my eyes and looked around the room. No one was fucking moving. Everyone's eyes were on Lawyer except for mine. When I looked at him, he was still staring at me. Children like violence. They revel in it. Children like to be scared, so we'll scare them, won't we, Johnny? He leaned over the table, getting pretty damn close to my face. His breath smelled like decaying shit. I stared back at him. I think you're fucked up, to be honest. He smiled and backed away. Oh, I'm fucked up, all right. You have to be fucked up to survive in this cutthroat world. His grin expanded. Literally, right now I'm going to show you some pictures that will spark some of your imaginations. He got up and locked the door from the inside. I stood up and said, What the fuck are you doing? Let's not make any errors in judgment, Jonathan. Sit down. No, sit. For some reason I did. Lawyer pulled out one of those shitty overhead projectors. He turned on the switch and shouted in an unusually high and semi-frantic voice. This is the fucking muse. We need to continue with this pro-fucking deduction. This is what every child should see. His eyes bulged in his head. He put the image down on the glass surface of the overhead. It was silent. The image was in black and white, but it was grainy. I could vaguely make out a boy lying on a brick floor, his arms cut off and his bloody little nubs black dots. The only thing that was clear was his face. He was bleeding from the mouth. Lawyer almost threw the paper off the overhead, slamming down another one. It was a zoomed-in shot of the boy's face. It was in color. The blood trickled down from his open mouth onto the brick floor. His eyes shut, grimy blood underneath his eyebrows and eyelashes. Then his eyes opened. I screamed. No one else in the fucking room did. It died in fancy, the shrillness ringing in the air. The pupils were completely black. The rest of the eye was normal. The longer I stared, the more the eyes opened, widening and widening until it looked like the skin above his eyebrows and eye sockets were going to rip in half. Then they started to bleed. Blood started as a trickle, and I swear to God I could hear it. More, now it was like a full-blown stream. More, until the brick on the floor was a lake of blood. I could hear it like I was hiking and came across a stream. And now I could smell the kid. I could smell his rot. I leaned underneath the table and vomited. When I rose back up, the images were gone. Everyone else in the room was expressionless. Lawyer turned on the lights. "You may go," he said, unlocking the door. I walked through those fucking doors and never returned. This happened near the end of the brainstorming process. By the time I left, the casting was done and the script was almost fully written. They were desperately behind schedule. I think Lawyer planned it that way so there wouldn't be any time for proper editing. I never watched the real thing when it aired, but I heard from a friend who was working at the editing department that they had to cut a good 15-20 minutes of disturbing footage from the film before it was fit to be released. And it was barely just fit to be released. They didn't have enough time to check the footage frame by frame. I guess he got his wish. Unless they cut every single scene that had the pictures in them. Every child watching Crybaby Lane has an unconscious memory of those pictures, and I weep for them, I really do. They fucked me up, and as I write this to you, it will be the last thing I'll ever write before I slit my throat and blood splatters all over this fucking computer screen. There's something I should tell you first, though. Early on, Lawyer posed an idea of two brothers capturing a squirrel, putting said squirrel in a jar, and slowly drowning it before filling the jar with sand and dropping it to the bottom of a pond. Soon after this was suggested, Sandy Cheeks appeared in the SpongeBob SquarePants episode Tea at the Tree Dome. Lawyer also suggested for one scene of the movie a man with a squid-like nose take off his pants in front of the two boys and rape them off camera, but heavily implied. Squidward tentacles soon began to appear as a major character on SpongeBob SquarePants. It was suggested that the two main characters be stepbrothers, forced to live in the same house after the one's mom was found dead in a shallow grave, her body heavily cannibalized by her own husband, a local weatherman. A show with a vaguely similar premise Drake and Josh starred in 2004. The stepfather in the show is a weatherman. Lawyer also suggested that the younger brother have a doghouse in which he keeps several animal fetuses encased in acid that he regularly uses to poison his mother to have sex with his abusive stepfather. As told by Ginger, debuted soon after, the main character's little brother has a doghouse where he keeps some similar things. A man who captures the souls of children in a vacuum cleaner and sends them to Hades. Danny Phantom. A robot who goes insane in the two brothers, kills one of them, wears his skin and pretends to be the dead brother at their high school. My life as a teenage robot. There are even a couple episodes where the robot gets the chance to look and pretend to be human. The list goes on and on. Nickelodeon knows, and they're continuing the legacy of lawyers, sometimes subtly and sometimes overtly. There's nothing you or I could do about it either. That creepy ass fuck. Several years after this creepypasta came out, the lost movie Crybaby Lane was not only found but reaired on television. I would show you guys this link, but it's I'm not sure if I can. But seriously, this story has it's opened my eyes quite a bit to just the severity of it, and having started to watch the documentary quite on set. It's troubling, and it's so sad, and I truly feel so much sadness and sympathy for the real victims, from those who were courageous enough to speak in the documentary. And My heart goes out to those like Drake Bell, Ariana Grande, Amanda Bynes, etc. And as much as I still like some of the TV shows that I've grown up with, like SpongeBob and everything, it's just, it breaks my heart. And that so many people had gone through so many terrible things. They put their trust in those that were supposed to keep them safe. And honestly, it makes me so sad. And I wish the best for these people who had gone through such a great deal. And I hope that men like Dan Schneider, he is punished for what he did to those kids. And anyone else who was a participant in these heinous, unspeakable acts, I hope that they will pay as well for the crimes that they had done against these children, these people who were at such a vulnerable, tender age. And my final message is, to everyone out there listening, there are a lot of fucked up people in this world that will take advantage of you. They may act like they are your friend, but you need to be wary of your surroundings and you need to pay attention to the red flags. Because as nice as some people are not always as they seem to be, and they will abuse their power over you. They will do whatever they have to do to get you to do what they want you to do. And you need to stand up for yourself. You need to speak up for what is right. It's not worth the money. You just need to get the hell out. So please, everyone out there, take good care of yourselves. You're not alone. And just remember to stay safe. I'm FandomTraveller87, and thank you so much for listening again and watching this video. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that bell to get all notifications for future uploads. Again, thank you very much. Your support means everything. And I wish you all the best, and just know that I love you all dearly. Alright. Until next time, bye everyone.